Welcome back, listeners. We got TL2. It's Cam, Teddy Lossier II, Oakmont. Cam, your chief fruit snack officer. Teddy, how are we doing?
We're doing great. Major week. 3 down. The best is yet to come. Looking forward to that one.
Teddy, you've always just been an open championship guy, haven't you?
I mean, if we could just go back to saying the British Open, that would be preferred. But yeah, no, I mean, the US Open was good though. I'm not going to say it wasn't. I wasn't able to watch as much as I had hoped for leading into the week. So I feel like I missed out on some storylines. But Sunday was exciting enough.
Yeah, like after that rain delay on Sunday, it's really all that mattered, it seemed like, was what you did there, because that's when people fell apart. That's when everybody was like, yeah, we're going to be a +5 winner here real quick. John Rahm was hanging around at +4. They were talking, him being in the mix, stayed at the course for what seemed to be 4 hours.
Same thing with McIntyre getting in at 1 over. I mean, It wasn't guaranteed, what Spaun was going to be doing. I honestly thought when everybody was making the turn, Adam Scott was like +3,000 or something, and he was still 2 back. So I put a couple bucks on that. Didn't work out.
No.
But a bunch of guys were still in the mix. So
when JJ Spaun was watching his shot just hit the pin and then roll 50 yards backwards, I was like, do I put a unit on this guy right now? Like, do I got a unit to spare here and put it on JJ Spaun? I didn't. But I should have checked the odds. I didn't even check the odds.
It's one of those things where it's either, okay, he's dialed, so some stuff is about to happen, or obviously it's not in the cards for something like that to go down. So just stay away from Spaun. And who else do we think is going to, be there at the end of the day?
Yeah. I was sitting there and I think we saw like 4 shots of Bobby McIntyre the entire day. And like all of a sudden he's like clubhouse leader at 1 over. It's like, when did this happen?
Right. We miss most of the golf from the guy who's going to win the US Open. That's cool.
One of the only guys probably under par for both weekend rounds, 3 under total, went 2 under on Sunday, 1 under on Saturday. I mean, when the rain's coming, he's like, brother, I grew up in Scotland. Like, this is the way of life here. I'm at home.
Well, that's kind of why we were jokingly saying like Russell Henley at the beginning of the week, when with the radar and everything, what it was showing. It was like, this could be his week, just based off of everything else that he's done, sort of conditions.
Tied for 10th, Russell Henley. Like, let's not act like he didn't show up a little bit.
No, I mean, he obviously top 10 is great, but really thought he was poised to steal a US Open. Also, he's always in the top 5 on Data Golf for like every sort of stat.
Yep.
Like going into the week.
Another sneaky, just kind of like, how did you end up there? It was Cam Young.
Yeah, that was surprising. That they showed him a couple times on Sunday, and I was shocked.
Yeah, he was. Yep. I was just, when everybody kind of started falling back, like the leaders, Burns and Scott, like he kind of just stuck it out, managed, and kept himself in contention until JJ did it a little better. I think overall it was a great tournament. I do get the gripes about, you kind of get tired of watching dudes. If you miss the fairway, you're essentially bogeying that hole. Like,
yeah, The
Hacking it out sideways. But I also like it's 1 week a year. They're going to the Travelers. Like they're probably winning score is going to
Yeah.
be 12 to 15 under par, probably. Right. So it's nice little refresh watching these guys struggle. And the way it's set up, I mean, one guy beat the golf course.
Hmm.
I do kind of like it when I look at it in that aspect. Like U.S. Opens, it's usually the golfers versus the golf course in the elements, and the winner was the only guy that technically beat the golf course, being one under par. I do like how it worked out that way. JJ Spaun made a 65-foot bomb in the pouring rain. The longest putt made of the week was to win the U.S. Open. I mean, pretty good story there. He's a likable dude. Good redemption from the playoff with Rory at the Players, where he just airmailed 17. Probably didn't really ever stand a chance if it went since it went to Monday anyways during that playoff. But no, I was overall happy with how the tournament turned out. Oakmont is an incredible place to be. It quickly jumped to top of my list of places I want to go play golf myself. Uh,
How would you? I mean, so you've been to two pretty good tournaments this year, Cam.
decent tournaments, yeah,
For people that don't know, you went to Augusta. In case this is their first episode,
yeah.
went to Augusta.
Tuesday
Then you,
practice round at Augusta.
then you just went to Oakmont.
hmm
How would you compare the two experiences?
I w- I wish I was there at Augusta during the tournament round because like I personally I'd like to walk around. I want to watch people hit the golf shots. I don't want to like sit in a grandstand wait for people. We did do that, but like after a couple groups go by, it's like all right, let's go
Mhm.
find someone else, go find another group. Um, both places are incredible. Like you ask me, I'll call it 1A 1B off the cuff right now, and interchange them. As venues and as golf courses themselves, walking, the fairways and outside the ropes. There, there's a lot of similarities.
Mhm.
Where you're in a tee box and you're hitting up into a fairway that's just tilted back to you, so there's no roll. It's gonna, especially if it's wet, plug
Yeah,
or end up behind its pitch mark there in the fairway. A lot of similarities there. The greens at Oakmont felt bigger,
yeah,
um, but also impossible. We were watching guys hitting like our when we first got there. I mean, we're like, all right, Scotty tees off in like an hour. Tees off number 10. So we watched the back nine of Scotty's group. It was Scotty, Colin, and Victor Hovland.
hmm,
And we caught up to him. We were waiting at the 12 green for him. We had perfect vantage point of them hitting their shots and like what they were doing on Friday. That's the day we were there. They're hitting the ball 20 yards short of the green into that kind of zero entry is what I call it. Like
yeah,
blends in real nice. And it was a back right pin location. And you just watch the ball slowly go this way towards the away from the hole, then back down that crevice and across the ridge. And I'm like, I have no like after a few, you're like, this is gonna be really good. We just
yeah.
watched three balls go here. Um, so I know it was well, a lot of people say tricked up, but like those greens naturally are fast, for member play. That's how they want it. So just thinking about trying to manage those greens as a golfer myself, it was kind of giving me a headache. But watching the pros just figure it out. Brooks hit an incredible shot into there. We watched JT four putt on that green. I was like, oh, dude, there's no way. He's done. He's toast. He
Yeah.
just lipped out twice from 4 feet. Like he's mentally gone. He's not
Well,
recovering from that.
what was that stat earlier? The number of three putts. I'll pull it back up.
It was like 289 for now. There's more players at the U.S. Open, of course,
Yeah,
but it
but
was
there
like
were two.
283 three
Well, so
putts at Augusta.
there were 238 three
That's what it
putts
was.
at Augusta. At Oakmont, there were 536.
hmm
So
Yeah,
almost double
yeah.
the amount of
I
three putts.
mean, it was crazy. I mean, Scotty. I think Scotty had 10 of those throughout the week. Two a
That's
day and plus a couple on another. Like crazy. Was there? I'd be interested to know. Was there any players without a three putt? How many?
I That's a good question. I don't think there was. I know it was a
It's
big
also
deal, like because Adam Scott didn't have. He was either even or under par after 3 rounds. Nobody else had done that,
mm-hmm.
or 3 consecutive rounds of par or better. Nobody else had done that. I would imagine. I mean, this sheer size of some of those greens and where the pins were, like I don't see how you could not have a 3 putt.
Yeah, yeah. It was incredible. 12 was a really good hole to set up shop on and watch. But if we're looking at Augusta and Oakmont, I think they're comparable in a sense of mystique and history and overall just tournament hosting.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, people probably want to play Augusta a little bit more because of the exclusiveness of it. You know, a lot of people play Oakmont, I'm sure, throughout their golfing career. You know, guys like us, it's not impossible for us to get on Oakmont. We
Yeah.
can make it happen. Um, whereas Augusta, it is. But yeah, I mean, the greens are just as crazy at Oakmont as they are Augusta in a different way. Like
Well,
they have the undulation, but they're also just so massive. So like you said, if you miss it front
yeah.
left and pins back right, like you have 47 ridges you're putting through.
Well, and it seems like it's a little more gradual at Oakmont versus Augusta,
Mm-hmm.
to where, like, I mean, obviously during practice rounds and with some of those green reading books and stuff, like, you can see kind of where those slopes are, but it just seems like the actual degree of the slopes at Oakmont is just so much less than Augusta, to where it's not even obvious to, like if we're watching on TV, like you can tell how big they are and you can see kind of the sheen of the grain, but you don't realize like it's still like a 5 foot drop from mound to mound. And then
Yeah.
there's 40 of them on this huge green.
Yeah, and then I would say too, some of the approach shots. I mean, let's take 17 for example. If you don't go for the green, you hit it just in that short area, 40 yards short. Like that is a significant pitch shot up the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Number three as well. Like to hit into that green from a club and a half, maybe two clubs depending on wind. You know, like uphill.
Yeah.
It's crazy that anybody can think about stopping a ball on that green.
And
Um,
also having the control to land it within like a 10-foot circle.
Yeah, in the 10-foot
Yeah.
diameter circle that you have to hit it in. Otherwise, you're going left of the green. You're going to roll
Yeah.
off into the rough. Three was an incredible hole. You know, when we walked in, that was the first hole we saw. So we walked in. You know, they're showing the video of the big squirrel. Three's
Mm.
right by there, and that's the entrance we walked in. And yeah, it was just looking up that. I'm like, I would shoot a million at this golf course. Like you only need to see that one hole, and you're like, yeah, I'm not
Yeah.
breaking 100. Um, Three's good. Let me backtrack. One is an incredible opening hole, just with like if you there's like the drop off in the fairway is crazy. Like it's like it just slowly uphill a little bit and then just like instantly goes down. So if you hit that right yardage, you get a lot of rollout. But the way it was set up, weather, wetness, like the ball wasn't
Mm.
moving. They just weren't getting down there. Um, and then that second shot into one with the downhillness, just the shape of the green, it's just pretty square. It's just a
Mhm.
beautiful looking approach. And that's if you hit it in the fairway. I mean,
Right.
we're watching guys hit it left, and they're like, "I'm going to hit this 60 yards short of the green because it's just going to feed up into the green, hopefully two putt for par." And some guys hit some really incredible shots throughout the week doing that. And I kind of like that they have a little leeway, like, all right, opening hole for, on the weekend, at least for everybody. Like, you can miss it a little bit. Don't hit it into the bunkers because then you're just pitching out to the fairway.
Yeah.
But if you pull it left, you can't really go right. But if you pull it left, you still might have a shot at
Still have
making
an
it.
option to
Yep.
possibly make a four.
Yeah. Yep. Um, You don't really hear the highway unless somebody's honking.
Yeah, I didn't realize like how it was kind of set up until some of those like drone shots.
Mm-hmm.
I
So you
just
go down one,
you just
you
don't
can
realize it like when you're actually watching the tournament and they're just hole by hole,
just
and
bouncing
then they
back and
kind of
forth.
blow it up, and then you see like there's a highway that runs right through
Mm-hmm.
this
Yeah.
court.
Yep. And 2 through 8's on the back, back side of the highway. So you're crossing over
Mhm.
instantly. We didn't cross over to the back until we wanted to catch up with Rory and his group, which was the afternoon round because he teed off one. We caught up to him on hole three. Actually, was the first time we saw him. But hole two is just an incredible hole as well. Just uphill, drivable for guys like Bryson if they want to give a go at it. We saw him on Friday. Bryson hit it up to the right side of the green. And then three, great hole. Four, we didn't catch much of until the end of the day when some of the last groups were going through it. But
Mhm.
you know, it's just an incredible place to watch golf and then play golf. I mean, it would just be it's a bucket list course for a reason.
How much gear did you get?
Not much. I got this hat, a bucket hat. I got the Lee Wabransky squirrel sign. Got to hang this up,
Oh, nice.
and then got my wife. She got like a like a polo with the sleeves gone.
Yeah.
Son a hat, and I got the U.S. Open flag with the this logo on it. So nothing crazy. I wasn't overly impressed with it's Peter Millar, and just some of the prints were not it for me. They got the
Mhm.
basic stripes and stuff. They did have just wasn't in my size. They did have like a green course polo, but it might have been the whole course. I think it was just like the church pew holes. It's like 3 and 4
So it was
kind of
like
printed out.
the entire course was like kind of printed on it though.
Uh, I had a few Miller Lights when we were in the merch tent, so or by the time we got to the merch tent. But I want to say what I remember was like, oh, the church pews that I see on here are sick. That would have
Mm,
been cool to have, but they were like down to smalls at that point. Everyone else thought the same thing as me.
yeah, kind of got.
um, it wasn't a bad experience in the merch tent. It was packed, right? It was a nice little reprieve. We had really good weather. We had a little bit of a storm warning, and like on the screens are flashing, be prepared, but we never had to, go
Go.
find shelter anywhere.
Yeah.
So we were in the sun pretty much, all day, and it was nice to get in there for about 45 minutes just to shop around. My wife sat down by one of the statues, um, and checking out quick and easy. We waited maybe 5 minutes, in line total. Whereas the Masters, it was just pandemonium. It's organized. Don't get me wrong, but there's just
It's
so many
organized
people
chaos.
buying so much stuff. Like it just literally takes forever to actually check out because they
Yeah,
have so many things. Like the guy
and
in front of me spent like
and everything as well.
$40.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
Um, merch tent was cool. I mean, they had plenty of grandstands around. We sat at so 12, 13's par three. It was 16 we sat at first. I mean, all the par threes there are long except for the one of them, which was still relatively long. But I think when we sat at 16 on Friday, it was playing 220 ish, something like that.
okay.
So watching guys, I mean, we watched JT and Minwoo Lee both make double from. JT was in an impossible spot left of that green. He was on a downslope right by the bunker, but like it went his downslope, bunker wraps around the green kind of, then green. He's on this downslope trying to get to. He was short sided. I looked at my wife. I'm like, he's gonna make a big number here. This is a huge shot. Made a big number. Went six. Him and Minwoo went six. Brooks parred it 2 putt par. Even Brooks, I mean, he was left green, and watching the movement on his putt from
Hmm.
20 feet, I'm like,
Yeah.
I'd be probably back at the base. I would have misread that putt so bad.
Well, that's the other thing. Like every putt moves out there. Very rarely are you going to have a straight putt.
Yep.
And if you're on the wrong side of the hole, like you can have a 20 footer that's breaking 10 feet. It's
Yeah,
like,
a lot of times guys are like, yeah, 20 feet, like we're gonna try and make birdie. when they're at Oakmont, they're like 20 feet. Like, let's two putt and
It's
get out of here.
constantly defense mode,
Yeah.
and you're just trying to contain it somewhere around the cup on the
Mm-hmm.
low side.
Yep. So we sat at 16 for we were probably there for like an hour, just kind of relaxing, taking a break. I had 12,000 steps before 11 a.m. Just moving around, hustling, um, fueling myself with Miller Lite
Mm-hmm.
and the occasional water. Uh, we did walk up 17. We watched Victor Hovland chip in for Eagle on Friday. That was cool. um, 18, we got a little bit of 18. It was just packed. The grandstands were packed from the
Yeah,
beginning. Like people were like, it's 18 at Oakmont. We're going to sit here. Uh, cool hole. Fairway is like probably the most premium fairway you can find, being the closing hole, uh, bunkers left and right, thick roughed. We saw a bunch of people go right. Um, but I didn't really want to stick around 18 on Friday. I'm like, what's the point? I mean, guys, this is like their turn. This is their ninth hole. Like, trying to think. Hole 6 was really cool. We watched Rom. I think it was Rom Spieth. Who was with them? Was it Burns? Wasn't with them. No, whoever they were, whoever was with them. I had a perfect view of John Rahm's tee shot from 13. Sorry, and just watching that ball flight,
mm.
because I think that was a short par 3, so a lot of guys are like
Mhm.
wedging it up there, and it was a tucked pin front right, bunker in front of it. He put it to like 8 feet. Crowd's going crazy. I'm just like mesmerized by the ball flight, staring at the sky still, because the way these guys hit the ball is just incredibly different than pretty much
Yeah,
everyone else. And then we ended the day watching Bryson. He was struggling. We first saw him on 2, jumped over to 4, and like from 5, 6, and 7, you can kind of get a good view of him from 5 green, teeing off on 6 to then them putting um, up on 6, and then 6 to 7, it's a 150-yard walk back to the back tee boxes for the par 4 seventh. It's a long par 4. Um, that was cool. Bryson, I mean, just struggled. +10, missed the cut. Would have been cool to see him, but he was with Xander, so we got a good glimpse of
yeah,
Xander and Bryson, and then the guy who peed in Race Creek, Jose Ballester. He was just in flaming red hat, red and yellow golf bag. I'm like, babe, that's a live golf right there.
yeah.
She's like, oh, I see the fireballs, because fireballs in yellow on the golf bag. And then I we watched Rory and all them and JJ play number 8, the long par 3.
Mm-hmm.
I tour pros, it makes sense, but like a guy like me and amateur, like we should never play a par 3 over like 200.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not a par 3 at that
Yeah.
point.
Yeah, and those guys, they see the yardage, they're like, all right, we want to make a 3.
Yeah.
3 is a good score here. It doesn't matter what the
Three
par.
three's a good score on every par 4.
Yeah, right. Um, it's a cool hole though. I'll give him that. Like we watched Justin Rose bomb it over the left gallery behind. Rory was the only one who hit the green in their group. Shane, you could just tell he was over pretty much everything
Yeah.
at that point. Still, it was pretty early when he was looking dejected. I wish I would have saw Rory's club throw or in the T marker, but we watched Rory in the morning or in the afternoon, and then we wanted to go jet over. We've seen plenty of Rory. We wanted to watch Bryson in the afternoon groups who are coming through the back 9 as their last hole, or front 9 as their last holes. So didn't see the T marker explosion, didn't see the club throw, but no, overall it was really cool. Oakmont's an incredible place. I
Did you
love the
did you
classic.
see the locker room explosion or no?
No, I didn't see. Allegedly Wyndham Clark destroy just essentially like golf artifacts in those lockers. But you gave those a good kick. Is he the worst U.S. Open winner ever? Based off of him before and now, behaviors, not
Yeah,
really doing
you could
anything.
make that. You could make that claim. I think so.
People are calling for his head.
I've noticed.
Golf Twitter's, yeah, unimpressed with Wyndham. It's going to be interesting to see the talk track around it during the Travelers this week.
Is he's playing this week, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's a signature event. All the top guys are going to be there, and he's still top guy, one of the top guys.
Top dog.
Yeah, just I was gonna say the clubhouse. Like I enjoy an old school looking clubhouse. Like I don't need the new fancy
Yeah.
stuff. A lot of courses out here in the Denver area with COVID, just influx of cash are like, all right, we're gonna upgrade our clubhouse. A lot of them, can be the more modern look, but like I was just out at Foothills, and their clubhouse looks like it. They're trying to be like a Trinity Forest clubhouse, like brand new, modern. I'm like, you could build like a farmhouse looking thing out here, like Raccoon Creek. That being said, I am biased towards Raccoon Creek all the time. Uh, but Oakmont just has that classic like 60s, 70s,
Mm-hmm.
80s, retro clubhouse
Your
feel.
typical country club, like when you think of country club,
Mm-hmm.
that's the
Yep.
clubhouse that comes to mind.
Yep.
But
Yep.
it's also, well, really quick before I forget, as far as like U.S. Open winners that just suck as a person, Angel Cabrera.
He did go to prison.
So, but outside of him, yeah, probably Wyndham.
It's like there's immaturity there. There's probably some psychological things that he needs to work out. Like he had the sports psychologist, right? It was all they talked about in full swing, when he won the US Open. It's like, I understand you're doing this. I understand you're an athlete. You've been doing this your whole life. You're frustrated at how you're playing. You have been invited to this place to play golf.
It's also like I'm sure you don't compete unless you think you have a chance. But like, what result over the last 2 months has given you the belief that like you truly it could be your week?
Yeah. So does he have unrealistic expectations going into the tournament that cause him to get that angry to where he
Right.
literally just destroys part of a locker room? Yeah. I
A
mean,
shared locker room,
I'm sure all those guys in their head they're trying to convince themselves they're the best golfer at the
of
golf
course.
course right now. But at some point you gotta grow up and realize that behavior is kind of it's unacceptable.
Yeah.
I can't imagine Oakmont as a club is excited. I'm sure the members who those lockers belong to are incredibly pissed. They join that club for a reason, right? Because of that history, because of how they like it. They like it that you were invited to that club. Whether you earned your way to the US Open or not, you're still invited to that club. And you just like desecrate somebody like that's somebody's like house, we'll call it, just go in and just cause mayhem. Well, I was playing golf at Riverdale Dunes on Sunday morning, Father's Day. Uh, and the there's a hole that's got a water next to it, and I had a 5 iron. I just topped it, just cold topped the shit out of it. I was hitting it horrible at that time, and I looked at my partner and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna chill out because that was about the closest I've come to throwing a 5 iron into the lake in a long time. And like
Oh,
I'm
so
having like
you didn't, when you returned to the clubhouse, you didn't smash some lockers. You didn't
no,
smash a tee marker.
mm-mm.
You didn't
No.
bounce the
First
club.
of all, I like my golf clubs, and I can't necessarily just ask TaylorMade or Titleist to give me a new driver. If I break it.
Not
Uh,
yet.
but it's embarrassing. Like it's
Yeah.
honestly embarrassing to like. I think about like the last time I did throw a golf club. I was like 17, and like I cringe at myself. That's that's 18 years ago. You know.
I mean, I've dropped golf clubs.
And listen, and I'm talking full fledged. Like I chucked this golf club at a tree. The graphite shaft broke. I have it in my garage. It was one of my grandpa's old clubs. I felt horrible about it. Horrible. Like he wasn't using it. He gave them to me. Right. Like that was my set.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I mean, like if you're like a guy who you hit your swing, you feel it off the toe right away, and you drop it, as you're coming through or whatever,
That's the thing.
on the
Follow
backswing.
through, just drop it. Like, oh my god, and then you're
I
just
will
like,
say, I will say, I'm actually fine with. I don't mind like the Rory tomahawk. I don't.
well, the
He had two.
tomahawk.
He had two. So he had two club throws. One was actually pretty sick, harmless. The
Yes,
first one, the first one, he swung. It was hole 12. Hit his second shot. I think he double crossed himself trying to cut it, and he drew it off to the left in the crap. And like a second after he hits it, he just chucks it like this. I think I'm okay with that if it's not like a Rory's doing this every week, every day
if
of the
it's not
tournament.
a, if it, I think it helps if it's not a wind up and then
Yeah,
chuck.
he was like this and just
Yes,
flick of the
those are
wrist.
those are fine. It also it kind of looks kind of cool because like there's just so it's so aggressive, but like it's so subtle and you don't
Yeah.
realize until that club goes flying. But like it's just a little flick and then it's tumbling 40 yards you know, down the fairway.
He's got to walk down there anyways. He's just going to pick it up.
He's
Yeah.
just making it easier on his caddy. That's
Yeah.
less weight next 40 yards.
The T marker smash is a little. It's getting up there. It's not near it, but it's
It's
getting closer
it's
to the
not a good
Wyndham
look.
Clark locker stuff.
Yeah, smashing a
I
team
don't.
market never a good look.
Yeah. I mean, it just says USGA on it. They probably have a billion that they could just easily replace it with. Don't get me wrong, but it's like just slam the club head into the ground, dude.
Yeah,
Or not the ground.
you're not the only one. Everybody else is doing that too. It's fine.
Yeah. Just hit the ground next to it. I
Yeah.
get it. It's a big target. It makes big sound. You're angry. I will say Rory's second club throw. It was kind of cool. He like
Yeah, that
threw it
was
at
sick.
his bag. You didn't see it?
No, I did. It was sick.
Yeah. He's probably what 8 feet away from his bag. Kind of did a little flick, bounced right back to him, caught it in the other hand, and I'm like, yeah. I mean, that's first of all great reaction time, Rory. Awesome hand-eye coordination. Makes sense why you're a good golfer. Uh, but yeah, I just you don't got to destroy a locker room, dude. And then everyone's trying to defend Wyndham because who was it? McDowell came out and said somebody in 2016 did the same thing. Not going to name. Like you might as well name names now because now you got everybody thinking it's Jordan Spieth after he melted down, right?
Mm,
You got everybody thinking that, but it could be some asshole who nobody's ever heard of, right?
right.
And I get it's a sport. People, football players probably destroy locker rooms after every loss. Who knows how
Right.
often things are replacing the but like you're a golfer, dude. Like throw a club, slam that club head to the ground, break it over your knee for all I care. Throw it into the pond. Don't go into the
Well,
locker room just destroying 100-year-old, lockers and essentially things that make the clubhouse.
yeah. I think it's also similar to like when Rory like ripped his shirt that one like or sped out of the parking lot. Like
Yeah.
there's different levels when like it's an immediate reaction. Like that's one thing that's kind of like you can overlook. But when it's festering and this is, 15, 20 minutes after you signed your scorecard,
Mm-hmm.
you should be kind of chilled out at least enough to where you're not physically breaking things.
Yeah.
So,
Yep. 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 That's the hot topic right now. Wyndham Clark busting up the Oakmont locker room. Overall, just Sunday in general, you know, decent start. Looked like good weather. Luckily, everything was missing us to the north on Friday, but it seemed like Saturday, Sunday things were actually coming through, weather wise. What are your thoughts before we get to the weekend talk? We just several top players missing cut. We've got JT missed it, Cantlay
yeah.
missed it, Harmon missed it, Mickelson. Mickelson, I mean, why not? No, Mickelson actually missed it in a horrible fashion. By the last three holes, he was like four over par. Like he was projected to make the cut and then just fell apart the last 3-4 holes, I think it was. Akshay missed. Justin Rose, Lowry, Cam Smith, Ludwig, Fleetwood, Minwoo, DJ, Straka, and the best golfer in the world, Joaquin Niemann.
Live number one. Yeah, I mean, I think it's just, I mean, if you kind of look at it, like there's a few, like, yeah, they're notable, but is it shocking? No. Like Brian Harmon not being competitive this week, or will be surprised.
No,
No.
short hitter, probably not the most accurate driver of the golf ball. So if he's hitting it short, so he's already behind. So now he's in the rough, even more behind.
DJ Mickelson, no, not surprised. Cam Smith, a little surprised. I mean, he hasn't been playing well, so shouldn't be shocked. But Oakmont's the type of course, like, he's accurate. He's a hell of a putter.
Mm-hmm.
He can play pretty smart. So, I mean, not that I would pick him to win, but at least make the cut. Oberg is a little surprising.
It's like it goes both ways for me with him because like he hasn't really been playing that great this year, but also like he has.
It's just right. He's hot and cold.
The overall expectation was for him to make the cut, and he didn't.
Yeah, at least be competitive.
Mm-hmm. I would say Straka and Niemann probably on the more surprising side than not.
Yeah,
Niemann's won 4 or 5 times on Live this year. Like he's been in good form, golf wise. And Straka, I mean, he's been pretty good this year as well. So
it just seems Straka finally took a weekend off. It's kind of how you could think about it. Mm-hmm. Which means next week at or this week at the Travelers.
So Sepp Straka is going to win the Travelers, is what you're saying?
Either him or Hideki.
You heard it, listeners. Put a unit on both. Outright winner.
Early call.
Yeah, Clark destroyed the lockers. I mean, let's just get right to Sunday. Weather was a huge factor. There was probably an hour and a half lull where like I'm watching and like they blew the horn. Sam Burns like just refused to tee off, right? Because somebody told him they're gonna blow the horn, which I'm fine with. Like, why? Like, why even tee up? Like, why are people upset about him not hitting that tee shot? Yeah.
It was kind of wild though, like leading up to the rain delay and then also like after when they resumed play. Like I couldn't figure out where the rain was because it was just so like scattered and mixed. Like they'd be showing one group on like 18 and it'd be pretty sunny, looked great. Then they'd cut back to like hole 12, like it's pouring.
Yeah.
It was like
I remember watching and Scotty's got like his vest on and he's just looking up. It's downpouring.
Yeah.
But he's like in full sun.
Yeah. It was shocking. But then when they started to show like earlier in the day, or leading up to the rain delay, when it started to kind of pick up on the back nine, but then when some of the leaders were still on the front nine, I was like, how does this happen? And then they showed where the road was and everything. And I was like, oh, okay, this makes sense.
Yeah. Yep. Luckily, I mean, you could just see it in the broadcast. That place turned into a sloppy mess, outside the ropes. Luckily, when we were walking around, like, don't get me wrong, you could tell people have been walking here all week. Like, this just makes sense.
Yeah.
But it was just so, like, that rough is, like, where those people are walking, it's still, like, the really long rough.
Yeah.
So it was kind of like just that kind of smelly, nasty. I'm like, we got to get out of here. We got to go somewhere else. What are your thoughts? So the rain delay happens. You get instantly. We're just watching Tiger Woods on 13 at, I believe that was Torrey Pines. Hit his second shot to the back of the green, draining his 1,000,000-foot putt down the hill for eagle, going nuts. What are your thoughts on? Were you watching at that point?
So I left. I can't remember where I had to go. I think I went to go get food or something. But so I left when the rain delay started. And then I got back. It was still, I think they were about to come back. So the broadcast was back, but they hadn't started play yet. So I missed the Tiger thing. But I saw on Twitter when they because somebody was like, oh, it's Father's Day, and your old man that hasn't watched golf in X amount of years,
Yeah,
like fell asleep earlier, just woke up, Tigers now,
it said like
putts,
yeah.
and just you don't
The one I saw was dad's taking nap everywhere. Gonna be real confused when they wake up and
yeah,
Tiger Woods is winning the U.S. Open,
which is great
uh,
and accurate. So I didn't see that, but like leading up to, I wasn't able to watch much Thursday, Friday. Watched a little bit Saturday, but Sunday I watched pretty much the entire
mm-hmm.
broadcast. Um, it was definitely sloppy. A lot of it. What I noticed was it was probably a long week for the players and for the viewers, because if the guys missed the fairway, which a lot of them were, they were just hacking it out of the rough back into the fairway trying to save four. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so many guys were still within a few shots, and you just didn't know what was going to happen with Burns um, and Scott, like in that leader pairing.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just, and after the first couple holes, like it was obvious like something crazy was going to happen.
JJ Spaun made 5 straight 5s to start off his final round at the U.S. Open. And he ended up winning. He shot 40 on the front. What's crazier to me than that is JJ Spaun, when he started his back nine, he was four shots back with
Yeah.
like a 2% chance to win. And then the rain delay happened. I think he was on 11. So he got one hole in maybe. Um, Side note, I took advantage of the rain delay and I went and took a nap. It was perfect. Father's Day U.S. Open, like my wife's like, "What do you want to do?" I'm like, "Here's what I'm going to do. I'm gonna go play golf in the morning, shoot a
Yeah.
million. Then I'm gonna come back here. I'm going to watch the U.S. Open. That's the
Yeah.
plan. We'll order Chinese food, which is what we did. Perfect. Anyways, um, it just seemed like coming out of that rain delay, the only person there's two people really that like were like, yeah, it's just rain delay. Like we're gonna lock in JJ Spawn and Bobby Mack. If you ask me,
Yeah. I mean, McIntyre was playing. What did he shoot on the back nine? Because like I feel like, what was his split?
I think it
Even
was.
and then 200. It was just he wasn't making any mistakes, and then just
Mm-hmm.
making a couple birdies coming in.
Yeah. Yep. And then I mean JJ went 40 33, 40 32, 3 under on
Yeah, 32.
3 under on the back nine. U.S. Open's gonna do it a lot of the time. You know,
And
even if you
birdieing
apparently shoot 40.
17, 18 helps.
Just an incredible putt. I mean, the shot on 17, as soon as
I
he
think
hit it, I looked at.
good.
I was just gonna say I texted another group chat like that's the best shot of his career. That's the biggest
Yeah.
shot of his career. You know, he puts it to probably what like 12, 15 feet for eagle, which if he would have made that, it would have been crazy if he made the eagle putt. Two putted for birdie, comes out, laces one down the center of the fairway on 18, laces it, pokes it out there. He did pretty much what it seemed to everyone was seeming to do: hit it to the left side of the green on 18,
Yeah.
and hope to two putt. And just there's an alternate view. It wasn't on a broadcast from somebody's phone of that putt, and you can just see how much it's moving. You can just see the ridges it has to take. It's breaking. I mean, he is aimed 12, 15 feet left of the pin of the hole and just center cups it. No problem. Goes nuts. Like all he needed to do was two putt to lock it in. But
Yeah.
even then, like I think he just had it. I mean, the guy was
Well, he was able.
second in.
Wasn't he able to get a read from Hovland?
Yeah. Victor hit it like a foot behind him. Gave him
Yeah.
the read. Twitter was going crazy saying Victor Hovland needs to chip this to not give this guy a read. And JJ Spaun was second in shots gained putting only to Matt Fitzpatrick for the week. So it's like, yeah, if a first of all, pros get any sort of read, like their percentage chance, even on a 65-foot putt, to even lag it up close dramatically increases if they can see it.
And now that like totally kind of forgot about Hovland. Like I feel like he should have won because it seemed like he just could not make a putt all day on Sunday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was the issue. He definitely got himself in some sticky situations too, off the tee.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, made some decent recoveries from there. But yeah, I mean, he wasn't making any sort of putts of any consequence.
No, I feel like everything was a two putt. I feel like he missed so many like 15 footers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, so he went 73 on Sunday. Victor did. Yeah, no big. He made both. Like they go into this tournament knowing they're going to make bogeys every round. He
Yeah.
made 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 bogeys, but nothing worse. No doubles on the card on Sunday. Couple birdies, but yeah, you got to make some 15 footers on Sunday to be in the mix. That being said, he was only three shots back. It's a good
Yeah.
tournament for him. He may be coming into form. He wasn't saying like he did at Valspar, where he just had no idea where the ball was going and somehow he won. So I'm sure he's feeling a little bit better about where he's at in his game wise. But yeah, I thought overall Sunday was a great finish. What are your thoughts on the Sam Burns standing casual water double no relief
Yeah,
chip?
I didn't know it was just feet. Like, so I guess
It
that
seemed
was
like it
that.
could be stance or the ball, right? Like it could be if your stance or your lie is affected by
Well,
water.
they pointed to where it was, it's the stance, not necessarily the ball, I believe is how they judged it. But I always thought it was either or.
Yeah,
So that was shocking. It didn't look that bad on the telecast, but they didn't really get a close up to it until afterwards. And like, yeah, the ball was in standing water.
yeah.
So I don't know how he doesn't get really.
Yeah, Kyle Porter. He posted 2 videos. One was like directly after Sam Burns hit. Like he went and stood there, and like the divot is filled with water.
Yeah.
Water's clearly moving. Um, I like to say there was no like ulterior motive to getting this thing
No,
done on Sunday. Like I don't think they were scared of like a Monday finish if
no.
if they stop play. But also that was what was that was 15. So there's only
Yes.
3 holes after that. So, but the thing is, like he was tied for first, I believe, at that time with Spaun. So I think that was the pivotal moment. He had made a double before,
Yeah. Or no,
but you
was
also
it?
can't you also can't shoot 78 on Sunday and expect to win. So
Well, no. I think wasn't it? Was it 15? I think it was the hole he made double on. I think that was the one. No,
hang on,
16's that
so
par three.
16 is par three. Yeah, it was 15. Yeah, it was 15. But also, like his practice swings. Like, yeah, he's like splashing up
Yeah,
water.
but I
So,
agree. I don't think it was an ulterior motive, but they were saying it's the stance, I guess, and not the lie. And I guess the stance, but I guess the
mhm.
stance was dry enough. But that just makes no sense to me.
Yep.
Also, I find it hard to believe that in a normal stance, if it's that wet at the ball, you're telling me your feet aren't also causing puddles?
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe, unless it's
Yep.
like a severe incline.
And it's definitely tilted, from left to
Yeah.
right. Like left is going to be dry and firm still because it's all funneling down there. I think the overall thing is I think they probably needed to take a look at the course overall, the rain coming down, the conditions. Like take a breather to let it maybe drain a little more. But like, was it going to drain anymore? Because I think it's just on and off downpours.
I mean, unless you got the crew out with the squeegees,
Yeah.
but they didn't have time. They had to try to. They wanted to try to get it done.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean you can't make two doubles on the back. Shoot 78, you go 38, 40. I was pulling for Sam the entire time.
I was
Really,
kind of kicking myself for not picking him.
yeah. Well, it
I mean,
worked out because I mean, I guess yeah.
well, it would have been still it
Could
would
you?
have been the same.
Yeah, yeah, right.
He still finished at four
I guess
over,
plus
like
four.
Scotty.
Yeah, yeah. We would have tied from the pick 'em.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, he double crossed himself, I think, and just ended up pulling that one left and made a big number. He birdied 17, but can't. I think he bogeyed 16 too, didn't
yeah, he bogeyed 16. Yeah.
he? Yeah. Um, I will say one hole that I didn't talk about that I really liked was number 10. Actually, with kind of the split fairway, they got a ditch
Mm.
going through there. Um, you
Yeah.
know, first tee shots we saw from up close, was Scotty, or was actually Sam Burns and his group, and it's just a cool hole. It's a little more downhill feeling than all the other holes, uh, but with that, like these guys especially, they're hitting irons, they're hitting
Mhm.
hybrids off. Really cool second shot over the ditch into the green.
I mean, it's a short hole, but it's not like that short. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they just have that ditch to go across, so they don't want to
Right.
end up in that. That's what makes it difficult. Is like you can't just full bore a driver out there. You got to be a little bit more strategic on it.
And still a
PJ
400
Tour,
par four.
yeah, it's long. It's long for like our standards, non professionals. Overall, great tournament, great finish. JJ Spaun seems like an all right guy from interviews. Good redemption from the players playoff. He's been in the mix. I mean, he just earned himself. He's third in the Ryder Cup points. We have to accept JJ Spawn is going to be on the Ryder Cup. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's not exciting by any means. Uh, but if you just, I mean, if you look at like what he's done this year and like how he's played, it makes sense. And I mean, I think he's a flusher.
He's a
So
flusher. He's clearly a flusher.
I've I've called him a flusher. Um,
Run the
so
tape back.
I think he's going to get some. I think he's going to get some play. I think he's going to hit some pretty big shots. I mean, winning if it was just based off of okay, he doesn't win the players, and then he's just kind of around on some of these other bigger tournaments, but just doesn't win. I would be a
Mm-hmm.
little more concerned. Um, but clearly, I mean, he hit the two biggest shots, the putt on 18. Well,
Those last two holes. Let's just call it the last
yeah,
two holes.
last two balls.
Ice.
I mean, it just shows that like he can handle the moment, so
Yeah,
be
yeah.
fine.
I imagine he learned a lot from the players. In
Mm-hmm.
that big moment. That's the fifth major, right? That's the tournament that all these guys want to win. And I think like going into I believe the Ryder Cup September, like I'm excited to see him because he's going to be fired up. It's going to be his first Ryder Cup. He's
Yeah.
34. He's like my age, 34, 35. Like he's going to be excited to be there. He's going to be pumped. He knows that he earned his way there through the point system. Like he's third. I
Mm-hmm.
don't see how he doesn't automatically make it. Even if he doesn't auto make it somehow, how Keegan
For
Bradley doesn't pick
sure,
him.
he's safe. I mean, he's just under 12,000.
The two guys would need to win like every tournament until the
Yeah,
Ryder Cup, I think, at
I
that point.
mean, pretty much it's between like he's got almost 3,000 points on Morikawa, who's 6, and Russell Henley, who's 7. So
Yeah. I think it wouldn't shock me in the slightest if we come out of the Ryder Cup as him like one of the top performers, top locker room guys, like
cool.
clips. Like, would it shock you if we see maybe something like a replay of like Patrick Reed versus Rory at what was that? God, why am I blanking on? Oh my goodness, was it Aaron Hills?
Oh, like going shot for shot.
Shot for shot, that kind of legendary match. Would see it gets JJ Spawn versus Rory again? Can he get some retribution from the players playoff and get
I mean, yeah, that still doesn't excite me.
no? I got you. But it wouldn't shock me if he comes out of the Ryder Cup like a success. Maybe he gets
Sure.
2.5 points through the teams and the singles. You know, he's a
There's
great putter. Great putter. He's second in shots gained putting this week.
something about him just screams like solid President's Cup player, not
Sure.
necessarily Ryder Cup.
I think I'm just excited to like see how he actually performs there.
Yeah.
That's what I'll chalk it up to. But you're not. So
Is there anybody else? So sevens. Okay, so we got Russell Henley, Ben Griffin at 8, Maverick McNeely at 9.
I think Ben Griffin excites me even less than JJ Spaun about the possibility of being on the Ryder Cup.
I'd be more interested to see Ben Griffin than JJ Spaun.
Why? The Aviators?
Could be
The
the
Aviators will look really cool with the red, white, and blue kind of scripting.
Aviators, also MaxFly being a part of, like, what if they used his ball?
It's like Ben and Scotty, and they're just like, yeah, we're going to use the MaxFly in
right.
this alternate shot.
I don't know, like his game, just Ben Griffin, not JJ Spaun. I think there's just more question marks, so I think that's why I'd be a little more excited to watch Ben Griffin, just because who knows what is going to happen in some of those moments. Maverick McNeely does not excite me. Harris English, I like him. He's had a good year. Andrew Novak has just been solid. He's at 11. And Brian Harman at 12.
Brian Harmon's been there. He's played in a Ryder Cup. That's got to go count for something, right? Just not probably playing that great this year.
Patrick Cantlay is 400 points behind Harman in the 13 spot. Sam Burns is close at 14. Obviously, he's playing well the last couple of weeks. He'll probably get up there and make it interesting. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely going to be some more movement. Cameron
It
Young.
wouldn't shock me if we're talking about Sam Burns from the Travelers to the Ryder Cup of like always being around on the weekends in the tournaments. I don't mind Sam even at this point, or getting a pick.
Cameron Young's at 15. I'm kind of just over him, to be honest with you, at this point.
he needs a strong finish to get into my good graces to be on the Ryder Cup, like real
You see
strong,
that
like a
happening?
win in
Probably
top 10 every tournament.
or
So
just win
very low standards for you, Cam Young. Just one win in top 10 every tournament from here to the Ryder Cup.
That's all you got to do.
They probably make picks a month before.
Yeah.
After the Open.
Yeah. August. Probably end of August. Yeah. Or the week after the BMW. It's probably when they'll do it. Yeah.
When's the Open?
The British Open?
It starts a month from today. Cool. Well, Teddy, Ryder Cup, exciting. Bethpage. Ryder Cup years are always nice. The U.S. I'm not gonna say we. The U.S. team needs we need to slaughter them in New York to make up for what they did to us in, what was it, Italy?
Yeah, I think Bethpage sets up pretty well for Ryder Cup.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Oh yeah. Bryson's auto. Bryson's fourth right now.
Yeah, he's for sure in.
Yeah. Okay.
I think he's got like a shit ton of points. 10,000. Yeah.
Versace outfit cost me 3,000. 2 Chainz horsepower.
I'm not wearing a polo today.
Yeah, neither am I. I'm wearing Nike. Nike, and this is a head. I would like to say I'm a big fan of the squirrel logo. I like it.
It's a good logo. It's a classic
logo.
With the gold acorns.
Mm-hmm. There was the hat selection was probably the best. I just have a million hats, and I really like the classic white hat right now.
You didn't get a key tag or holder?
Didn't even look. I was buzzing. We were vibing. Didn't even look for the Smathers Branson key tag key fob. I did get a magnet and an ornament. I forgot about that.
Okay. Okay.
So
That
I
sounds
got
bad.
a I got an ornament at the Masters too. It's like a little kind of stitched one, little knitting kind of a cool looking one. So I got the equivalent for Oakmont.
Right.
So those will go up in December. No big deal.
Should we go over the current standings? Maybe Cam.
For the pick'em,
Yeah.
for our yeah. Long story short, you and I are tied now. 23 points apiece.
Look at us.
We you picked Scheffler, I picked Rom for outright winner this week. They tied at +4, so we each get a point. You picked well. Who did Justin pick for the winner?
He picked Xander.
Xander, which was at the beginning of the week, like it's a good pick. Xander can come into form at any time. Just didn't work out. Tristan Lawrence was his DFL, who like played better than Xander.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean the Justin Lair
Well,
curse lives on.
Xander, they ended up tying, but for the most part, Tristan Lawrence was, I mean, he was there after 3 days.
Yep, yep. And then I had James Hahn and Maxwell. You had Maxwell Moldovan as our
Yes.
DFLs. Shout out to Maxwell for holing out on his first hole at the U.S. Open. That was pretty cool. But that was about the highlight of his U.S. Open because he kind of fell off. He was, I believe, he was +14 or 13, and James Hahn was +14. Both
13
missed the
and
cut.
12. 13 and 12.
So Hahn was
Yeah.
13, Moldovan was 12. Okay.
Yeah.
So I got 2 points this week. You got one. Justin got one. That means you and I, after the U.S. Open, we're at 23 points apiece. And Justin, I hate to say it, he's not quite out of it. He probably needs to pick a winner this week. So we'll get a text thread. We'll get the
Yes.
winners picked. He needs a big week this week. He's at 13, so 10 points behind us.
It's not out of the question,
No.
but it is getting.
And odds are going to be a little bit more in his favor. There's how many people? 60, 90? I forget how many people are in these signature
Oh, and the
events.
Travelers. Yeah, like 60.
So, did we miss anything on our agenda here?
I don't think so. I think
So who were you rooting for on Sunday? Who were you like? I want this person to win. Like,
I nobody really in particular. I think I would have been okay with Adam Scott winning, Victor Hovland winning. I would have been okay with
mm-hmm.
either of those. Sam Burns, it would have been nice to see.
Yeah.
The only like rooting I was really going for was like Scotty to just kind of go dumb.
Do his thing. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Shoot a
selfishly because I
65 or whatever.
picked him. Yeah, but outside of that, it was just like, there were some decent names that were within striking distance that I would have been okay with. The only one, Terrell Hatton, was the only one that I was like, I really just don't want him to win.
After so he was getting interviewed like when JJ made his putt, and it kind of I was like it warmed me up to him a little bit. He was actually you could obviously tell he was frustrated about how he finished 17. He made double because he hit it to the bunker, or he was in the thick grass, then hit it into the bunker on that shot, and he could tell he was frustrated. But like when JJ made that, he like you could tell kind of like, all right, man, like chill out. Like,
you didn't lose it. JJ,
yeah.
you just won it.
Yeah, JJ went out in there and won it on the back nine, and his response kind of opened up to me. I actually didn't mind watching him play golf in person either. From what I saw of him, he didn't necessarily do any of his antics or whatever. But it's also like all these guys are thinking in his head, like when they hit a bad shot, like they're thinking the same stuff Terrell is. He's just acting on his thoughts
He's
a
just
little bit
more
more
expressive.
Yeah. So it warmed up to me. I was down the stretch. I'm like, that'd be an interesting guy to win this tournament. I think it was equivalent to like JJ Spaun. Like, it just would be an interesting. I hope we see his name more. Like, I don't want to just like go down next year, or like 10 years from now, if we're still doing this somehow. We're going through U.S. Open winners. Is like this can be JJ Spawn's like last relevancy. So it'd be cool to see him maybe keep it
Not just
going
like
for a
a
while.
Michael Campbell
Yeah.
situation. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. That actually kind of frustrates me because that's exactly like the perfect example of what I was talking about. That's funny. Yeah, I would say I'm right there with you. Burns, Hovland would have been a great one. I mean,
Yeah.
guy didn't know where the ball was going like a month ago, and now
And
he's
then to
fucking
win
winning
at
the
Oakmont.
Open. Yeah, yeah, where you need to know where your ball's going.
Correct.
I was rooting. I wouldn't have mind Burns, Hovland, Adam Scott. Wasn't necessarily pulling for him, but I wouldn't have been like annoyed that he
It would
won.
have been cool. Masters and a US Open and like so far apart,
Yep,
what, 10 years or more than 10 years? When did he
12.
win the
I think
Masters?
it's 12.
Yeah.
I think he won the 13 Masters. Um, and then why did this just go away? There's another name that I just cannot think of that I was like, yeah, that'd be
Jon
cool.
Rahm.
John Rahm, selfishly, I 3 under. I think he was low round of the day, and like he stuck around because like he saw what was happening. Everybody just started dropping back so
Mm-hmm.
fast, and it's just like, what? How did we get here? And I'm sitting there, I'm like, is John Rahm about to win this tournament or go to like a
Four over
5-person
with
playoff?
the hold.
They
The
were
guy
literally
finished.
talking about yeah, they were literally talking about like a 5-person playoff at +4 for like
Yeah, I mean that would
two
have
or
been
three
cool
holes.
too. Like with everything going on, like when the leaders first teed off, I was like, holy shit! Like, what if at the end of the day, there's like 7 guys at 3 over, and that's what ends up.
Yeah, that's fun. We'd remember it. It'd be a memorable
Correct.
Oakmont um, championship. Let me get the leaderboard pulled up because it's gonna kill me. I will say, my wife and I were talking. We may make the Friday round at the U.S. Open like a yearly thing. Shinnecock next year.
At the cock, I mean,
The cock. It was Cam Young. I was like, that'd be cool. Like, come out of nowhere, have a terrible year, play the back
well,
nine great.
wasn't it the U.S. Open 2 years ago that kind of like sparked his? Was it the U.S. Open?
I thought he was competing at Winged Foot, wasn't he?
I think so. Yeah.
2020. That's kind of like when like, oh, that's Cam Young. He's like good. He
Yeah.
pounds the ball, and he
The
kind of had a good
kid
two,
from
two, three
humble
years.
beginning
Yeah, humble
at
beginnings
the
where he played
exclusive private club in New
at
York.
Wing. Yeah, yeah. That's funny. But yeah, I was kind of pulling for him, like seeing him in the mix. But yeah, Shinnecock will be great. I think next year. And is it Pebble after that? I believe it is 2027
Probably.
Pebble, which is like, if you ask me, from my knowledge, I haven't played either course. Two totally different
Yeah.
styles of golf courses. You're
Correct.
probably gonna have, well, Shinnecock can definitely have the high winds out
Mm-hmm.
there, but I don't think it's gonna be like anything like Pebble, where if you get winds in any sort of moisture, it's just gonna be tough. So, all right, I'm talking just rambling. Teddy, any closing words for our listeners here?
Um, just want to. I mean, we're pretty much halfway through the PGA Tour season. I mean, and some of these big events, we still have the Open, we still have the Ryder Cup, still have the FedEx Cup. It's the last signature event coming up.
Last
So
Siggy Travelers.
I think
Cam
just
Young's going to shoot 59 again at the Travelers, by the way.
on Thursday and then shoot
Yeah.
82 on Friday. So yeah, I mean, just kind of cherish it, hone in these picks. I've gotten lazy this last month and a half or so. I need to get back in the lab, and I need to just put you under.
All right. So Teddy's looking to close out Justin and I this week at the Travelers, is what I'm hearing.
Justin could possibly be closed out this week. Yeah.
Yeah. Justin's probably definitely going to be closed out if he doesn't pick the outright winner. Yeah. Let's lock in. Let's get some bets out there. Outright winners. I've been. What's been growing on me is like a 3-guy parlay for like top 20. I kind of like that.
Yeah.
A little easier maybe on these because minimal cut if there is one. So they got a good chance of just being there on the weekend. And if you're there on the weekend, especially in the signatures, course like course like TPC was it River Highlands, like they're gonna probably go low. There's gonna be a couple low 60 rounds. Like why not a guy you picked, top 20. So cool. All right, listeners, appreciate you sticking around. Let us know your thoughts on the US Open this year at Oakmont. I'm Cam. We had Teddy. Like, subscribe. We're on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Instagram, Pitchmark Collective. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.